I'm Emma Goswell and welcome to Effin Hormones, the podcast about perimenopause and beyond. Now, if you haven't listened before, it's basically me and three of my mates, Helen, Beena and Terri. And you get to hear us having a rant, a swear and as much of a laugh as we possibly can, because let's face it, that's what we need at this time of life. I always say perimenopause and beyond because I'm actually menopausal, which, yes, because I'm so clueless, I only found out when we started recording this podcast. Terri is peri, oh that rhymes, and on HRT. As for Helen and Beena, well in the last series they didn't really know what was happening. It was a state of mind they just got used to. The brain fog made sure of that.
Bloody did.
So welcome back. This is the start of our second series. If you listened to the first one, then a massive thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and we really appreciate all your lovely reviews. And in fact they did make us a little bit emotional at times reading them, because one of the things we really wanted to do was make it okay to talk about your effing hormones. If you know someone who's struggling through this, point them in our direction, please. And if you can write a review on Apple Podcasts, that means that more people can find us too. Now, later on in this series, you're going to hear from some brilliant guests, including a very sweary, very rude and very hilarious chat with crime writer Marnie Riches. But for this episode, it's just us. Yes, it's me and the Effin Hormones gang, my three mates, Beena, Terri and Helen. Welcome back, girlies.
Hello.
We're back.
From out of lockdown.
Yeah, back after another lockdown. So shall we just first of all dwell on some of those amazing reviews that came in, because I think everyone saw some that really affected them, didn't they? Terri, you seem to have a lot of people messaging you, didn't you? And lots of members of your family and so.
I did, yeah.
Well, they were all paid to do that.
Yeah, I must get my checkbook out. No, we've had some amazing reviews, actually. We've had 100 ratings, 48 reviews, and one of them they've all been brilliant, actually, and it's really interesting reading what everyone's saying. One that stuck with me is it really made me laugh, but also it was slightly poignant because I think it's what we're all trying to say, is that women are being ignored. This review was by someone called Universal Inclusion, and they wrote their review in Betty's tea shop, which I thought was brilliant. I just love the idea of a woman sitting in a tea shop writing a review for a menopause podcast. This woman said that she'd finally got a female GP to listen to her to get a referral. A male GP stepped in and stopped the process. So she was feeling a bit frustrated but felt empowered by listening to our podcast, which was really nice, because I know that it's helping people. And the other one was hilarious. It was my colleague messaged me and she said, I've been listening to your podcast with my 2-year-old daughter in the back. And she said, in the back of the car, so she drives and she listens to it while she's driving. And she said her 2-year-old daughter started chanting peri, peri, peri. In the back of the car, which really made me laugh. And in a message she said, I better put it on headphones before she starts chanting vaginal dryness at nursery. so thanks for listening, Emily. But there's so many people that have surprised me.
Do you know what? Considering some of the fruity language we've been coming out with in the previous series, it's a pretty good thing.
Peri's
that's not bad.
That's like the tame bit, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Really that's ace though. Thank you. I just thank you so much if you took the time to write a review. I have been, my son's having his bath time again. Can you hear it in the background?
Just had a little giggle, I think.
If you hear a little giggle in the background, guys, it's my son's bath time, because that's the time we record this podcast. But yeah, thank you for leaving reviews. What really struck me was a guy that I know. He's a bit of a joker. He's a good, fun guy. And he was so enthusiastic about it, because basically it was like, this explains what's been going on with my other half. So I was really pleased about that, because I just want it to be really inclusive and funny as well, because we try and have a bit of a laugh about things as well, don't we?
Yeah, well, I was just surprised at how it got to so many people. So I had someone messaging me who was in my bereavement group who said, I found your podcast. I hadn't even told them about it, but I found your podcast and I just want to tell you how brilliant it is and how wonderful. Oh. And of course, I work with quite a lot of gay men as well. And like one young gay man who, really has not particular a need to know about what's going on with the menopause. He's not necessarily ever going to have even a female partner, but just really enjoyed it and really learned loads and really had a real education listening to it.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So that was really fun.
Who's that, Emma?
My friend Jake. Bless you, Jake, for listening.
Oh, thanks, Jake. We love you.
And what about you, Beena? Have you had some good feedback from people listening?
Yeah, what's surprising is people who I haven't spoken to for years have got in touch and gone, oh, I'm listening to this. And, you know, I'm 40 and a lot of my friends are sort of a bit younger, but they're like, right, I know what's coming and I sort of feel quite tooled up now. Most people just love the fact that we're just a bit sweary and a bit mad with it, and people are laughing. You know, this is, for me, that's a really big thing. People are having a good laugh at our expense, I guess.
You can laugh at us anytime.
You can laugh at us.
You write a review on Apple Podcasts. You can laugh as much as you like, darling. Thanks.
But I think the sort of main sentiment that's coming through is this is making people feel normal again. That they're not alone. They're not mad. That people are sort of being listened to, you know, or feel kind of part of something it's not just all in their heads. So that for me is kind of the big thing, really.
There might be somebody who's feeling a bit alone because I've got the statistics of where people are listening, and we've got one listener in Vietnam.
Is this where we say, good morning, Vietnam?
Yeah, good morning to our one listener in Vietnam. Bless you. Thank you for listening. Send us some questions.
How many years have you been working in broadcasting, Emma, and you finally had the chance to say that in a bona fide way? Go on, give it some welly and do it again.
I didn't do it as well as Robin Williams, though, did
you?
I? I'm no Robin Williams. Good morning, Vietnam.
Love it.
Terrible. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
We haven't even had a good fucking swear yet either, Beena.
Oh, fuck.
We've not even
Jesus. Sorry, I'll stop cursing in the Lord's name.
Time for a catch-up, though, I think, isn't it, really? Because as we know with the menopause and peri, it's not a straight journey, is it? There's lots of ups and downs, and we haven't actually had a chance to chat to each other for quite a few weeks. So last time we spoke, you may remember that I just paid quite a large sum of money to go private because I could never get hold of my doctor, and I was just sick and tired of all my menopausal symptoms. So I decided to take it into my own hands and go private and get myself some HRT. And I think last time we spoke, I just had blood tests and they were going to decide what they were going to do with me. So for the last 2 months, I have been taking HRT. As a pump, as a cream that I rub on my skin. I can rub it onto my wrists and my upper arm here, or I can rub it onto my inner thigh. So it depends where I fancy each day. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, I was really, really excited because we'd spoken to Colette Walsh, who said that, I mean, her story really touched me because she got it in Spain, and it seemed to me like it was almost an overnight cure. You know, she went and had these patches and it was revolutionary just within a week. But I have to say, for me, it was a real slow burner, and it took weeks and weeks. I was like, nothing's happening. Nothing is happening. I was still sweating like a pig, having my night sweats, having my mood swings going up and down, still on the antidepressants, and nothing was changing, really. So I rang up and complained, and they said, well, do it for a bit longer because it can take like 3 or 4 weeks to kick in. Then when that didn't kick in, they said double dose. I was double pumping in the evening. And I think it's been a very gradual improvement. I was double pumping.
Hey, lucky you.
Boom, boom. But yeah, it was a very slow and gradual improvement. And I think you may notice, actually, this is the first time we've recorded this programme where I haven't had my fan right next to me.
No.
Yes, I have noticed.
No fan.
Yeah, and I think it's been...
Yay!
Yes, it's been a very slow, gradual journey over the last 2 months. But I'm not saying that I'm having no hot flushes, but the effect of them is a lot less, so I'm not dripping in sweat. I might just have to take my jumper off and then I'm all right 10 minutes later. So I think I am finally, slowly but surely, getting there. So we're not totally out of the woods yet, but I do feel feel that I'm getting there and it's nearly the end of my symptoms. So yes, that's where I'm at. Go on, Beena.
So sleep was a big thing for you, or lack of. How's that?
Yeah, I mean, still up and down, but last night I slept from 11:30 at night till 4 a.m. before I woke up, which for me...
that's really good for you.
...is incredible. I mean, I had insomnia after that, but that's not to do with the menopause.
Oh, right.
My brain just works overload. But yeah, so I actually slept for, what's that, like 4.5 hours. Normally it was like waking up every hour or two. So, you know, I think we are getting there.
Oh, brilliant.
And also, I feel like this woman is like my private drug dealer. So when I rang her up last time, so I've got a higher dosage now of estrogen. And then I also said, oh, maybe I should try some testosterone as well. And she said, OK. So she's put testosterone in it. So I've literally started taking testosterone as well in the last 2 days. So I'll have to update you maybe next series. as
How
to
exciting.
Whether that's had a difference.
If you come to us in a few weeks and we're doing our Zoom and you've got a beard, we'll know it's working. So, Emma, what are you taking? What's the cream?
So I've got this tube of cream, which doesn't smell of anything, but it says it's got 1 milligram of estradiol, which is estrogen, 100 milligrams progesterone, and testosterone, 1 milligram per 0.3 millilitres.
Oh.
So it's combined.
So it's combined, yes, a bit of everything in one tube that I put on
Wow.
my arms or legs. So one pump in the morning, one pump in the evening, and so hopefully that'll sort me right out. And I'm definitely getting less hot flushes.
Oh, I'm so pleased to hear that, Ems.
That's
Yeah,
good.
and I might even
That's
shout at my
great.
girlfriend less, so that'd be nice, won't it?
Because, I mean, the last time you talked to us about this, I mean, you said that you basically just went out into the back garden and just cried because you were just waking up every 3 times an hour. That was like in the last episode. So, to hear that that's improved for you, I'm so pleased, so happy for you,
and
mate.
it's not just the hot flushes, is it? It's the up and down with emotions, and I used to wake up in the middle of the night with this horrible rage. And there's nothing happening. It's not like I'm stressed about anything because it's the middle of the fucking night. But I just wake up and feel really angry with the world and really, I just want to scream and punch someone. And that's all hormones, and that's what it can do to you. So I do think that this is working for me.
Fantastic.
So, hallelujah.
Yay! Brilliant. Aw, woohoo!
Can you ask your GP now to give you that so you don't have to keep buying it privately?
That's my next stage, yes, to actually try and get hold of my GP. So let's try that
Episode
again,
2.
shall we? Because I'm still trying to get hold of my GP about something like
Series
that.
More like
4.
War and Peace, isn't it? Trying to get through to the GP.
Well, it's no laughing matter, though, really, to be
No,
fair.
it's
I mean, it should
terrible.
not be this difficult to get hold of your GP, never mind anything else. So even just get a book in for an appointment, it shouldn't.
So hang on,
shouldn't
it
be
was
this
like
difficult.
it was June, wasn't it, when we recorded, and it came out in July. So from June to now, and it's September, you've still not managed to get through to your GP.
No, I've not tried every day, but I've tried several days. You have to ring at 8:30 in the morning, and by the time you get through, it's nearly 9 o'clock, and then they say all the appointments are gone for today, and you can't book one for the future. And that's the way it goes. But I think now it's September, it might be easier.
Why don't you send an email to the practice and say that how many times you've tried and it's just disgusting and ask them to ring you back?
Yeah, I can try that, but I will.
Otherwise, I'll ring them for you and do that because I'm disgusted on your behalf.
Set Terry on the warpath.
Absolutely. Right, well, that's me. Beena, you've got some news as well, haven't you? Things have changed since we last
Things
spoke.
have changed. So where I was at was I have polycystic ovaries, and I was struggling to really find where the polycystic stuff sort of ended and the peri symptoms kind of started. And I went for some more blood tests and another scan on my ovaries, and then I went for another blood test because they wanted to do it at different points in my cycle, which was brilliant because no one's ever done that before.
Wow.
So that was quite impressive. And then all my results came back. That took a little while for everything to come back, but everything came back. And I had my GP call me, and I think we were talking for over half an hour, which is quite something, really. I mean, I was actually standing in a car park. I just paid on the pay and display machine. I was just standing in this car park, and I just thought, I have to have this conversation now. I know that if I don't have it now, it could just be on more and more weeks. And so basically, she went through all the results, and she was very kind of, right, okay, well, this looks like this could be a perimenopausal symptom. And so, top and tail of it was, I've also been prescribed HRT.
Woo!
But I have these
Wow.
patches. Everol.
Are they Everol Sequi? Everol Sequi.
Everol Sequi.
Everol Sequi.
Yeah. So I've not started using it yet because I'm going on holiday very soon, and you have to stick these patches on, and I don't want to get in a swimming pool and all
Are
that
they the
kind of
ones that
stuff.
go on your bum?
They go on, yeah. So there's
They
like
go on
this
your-
kind of.
Buttocks. Or your thigh.
Same thing. Is that not the same thing?
There's actually a diagram of where I can correctly apply it. So basically, you've got this massive long thing, which is just
yeah.
like the scariest
All the possible side
double-sided.
effects.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I reckon Jeff Bezos's penis rocket had a smaller manual than this. Like, It's just ridiculous. I'm just like reading it going, what on earth? And then it goes, if you put your first patch on Monday, and then you have to change it on Thursday, you have to change again on Monday. And then, anyway, so this is kind of like, this literally is War and Peace about how to do it and when you should do it. And if you have a period, then do it then. And if you don't have a period, have to wait 5 days. Anyway, I can't start this just yet. Despite the fact that I've been desperate, I think I just have to go away on holiday, and I just don't want to be having side effects and stuff on holiday, and I want to be in and out the swimming pool and in the sun and stuff. So come October, I'm going to get fully stuck in, get my head round it, and basically see how I go. And we've kind of agreed on 3 months with a review and just see how I get on, basically. And I was very keen on, she did give me the option of having a tablet or other options, and I just was very keen to not have anything that I ingested. Just to start with, because, it's still sort of, am I not? But I am more peri than I'm not, if that makes sense.
So you are peri, so this is a big deal. How does that feel mentally to be part of the peri gang?
Well, I mean, again, it's not a gang you want to be part of massively, or you don't really want to be winning at peri trumps, but I'm relieved. I'm really relieved. And when I got off the phone to this GP in the car park, I mean, I couldn't stop thanking her for a start. And then I actually had a little, not a big cry, but I literally was like, oh my God, the relief. And then I texted you girls straight away. I was and yeah, so no, I feel good. I think I'm just, now it's sort of happened after a good few years of wrestling with it. I'm looking forward to seeing what these patches bring.
Well, this is it though, you see, because forewarned is forearmed. You know now. Yeah. and you can probably do stuff about it because you actually officially know. So that's a start, isn't it?
And what's nice is there's a good positive story about a GP responding to some of the menopausal symptoms to counteract mine.
Even more outraged by yours though, Emma, because I think I've just, all the GPs I've seen over the last few years have been amazing. But the last 2 female middle-aged GPs have been incredible. They've just taken the time, they've listened, they've not battered me off, they've not just gone, no, you can't possibly be. They don't just look at age and stats and figures, they sort of have looked at me and they've listened, and I just feel really vindicated.
That's amazing. Hooray!
Really good to hear. A clap for your GP.
Whee!
Thank you.
Right, Terri, how have you been getting on then? What's the update since we last chatted?
Well, actually, I was on Everel Sequi for about 9 months. So I was on what you've just been prescribed, Beena, and I immediately started to feel better. But over time, I was starting to get more of the symptoms back. I was starting to get hormonal migraines back again. I don't know if I mentioned this to you last time we spoke.
No.
So I asked if I could go on the estrogel. So what you've got, Emma, is the gel and the progesterone combined. I take the gel and the progesterone as a eutrogestin, which is a tablet. I take them. So I take the gel every day, estrogel instead of this patch. And I take the progesterone, which is called eutrogestin, for about 10 to 12 days of my cycle. I'm feeling so much better on the estrogen side of it, but when I take the progesterone, it's really affecting me. So I think I might have to change the way I take it, and I might have to take it topically, which means probably vaginally, because at the moment I take it as a pill. But it feels like I've got the worst PMT ever when I start those 10 days of that part of the cycle. So on the whole, I'm feeling loads better. But on the other, I have days where I feel like that rage is still there and I feel like the worst PMT ever. So I think I still need to try and get the combination right, but I think the gel is definitely working for me. So that's where I'm at with my HRT. But I think it's not just about HRT, and we've talked to women who've said that HRT doesn't work for them. For me, I think it's a combination of things. So I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but I have therapy, because last year I went through a very difficult time health-wise, which I had a really big health scare. As a result of it, I got anxiety, which I'd never experienced before. And anxiety is very much a very big part of what a lot of women go through during menopause as well, So I still have cognitive behavioural therapy quite regularly, which is helping me both with the symptoms of menopause, but also in how to deal with the things that make me rage, and learning how to sort of tackle things that before have really, really sort of sent me over the edge. So it's a bit of a combination of of life changes, as well as doing the yoga, and I'm still doing mindfulness. All these things, as well as HRT, I think are making me feel more myself.
Good for you. Good for you on the yoga as well.
Did HRT help your anxiety though? Because it's, I think it's helping me in terms of the mental up and downs.
Yeah, I immediately felt the benefits of HRT, and maybe it's the placebo effect, I don't know, but I doubt it. But when I first started taking the patches, I immediately felt like a bit of a weight had come off me. It's hard to describe the feeling of anxiety, when, especially as I'd never had anxiety before. So, it was partly because of perimenopause and partly because of anxiety, because of a reason for the anxiety, which was why I was having it. But it certainly helped with things like the palpitations I was getting, that feeling of fight or flight, that dread, that, sweaty palms, and the, that has really calmed down a lot with when I'm on the estrogen side of things. I start to get those feelings back when I go onto the progesterone, which is why I need to get the combination right. But the fact that I know that I have had days where I felt so much more myself, I know that it's my hormones, and I think that's quite reassuring, knowing that a lot of this is not in my head. I'm not having a breakdown. I'm not going to end up in a psychiatric institute, because that's where I thought I was going to end up. And if I do, even somebody has said on something I was listening to, at least you'll be looked after. What's the worst thing that can happen? And which is probably what CBT helps with. It makes you think about what's the worst that could happen. Actually, the realisation isn't, it won't be that bad. So on the whole, yes, it's really helped with anxiety, but I think I've had to do other things to get me out of my head, as well as the sort of hormonal side of things.
Like a bit more yoga with Adrian. We've talked about her a few times,
we love yoga with Adrian.
I don't know how I'd have survived the last 15 months without doing that, because I joked about it once in one of our episodes. I'm not really one of those yoga people, and I really, really did judge people who were into yoga and thought, oh God. So just before we started recording as well, I still get my roll mat out every night in my bedroom, and at least half an hour, just nice, even if I just lie there,
a downward dog,
a bit of dogging, just no, that's a different podcast, sorry.
That's your other podcast.
Is that the car park around the corner?
Yeah.
But listen, good for you for doing all the stuff, for doing everything to sort of make yourself feel as good as you can. It's a lot of work. But
I think it's empowering doing it. I mean, even
it is
today,
empowering.
I was working and I was starting to feel a bit agitated, and I thought, right, what are the things that help me to get rid of this sort of PMT feeling, and the feeling of, like Emma mentioned it, the rage. I don't know where that comes from. I really could kill people sometimes. If my neighbour starts with this...
Effin Hormones, isn't it?
Do you write strong-worded letters at 4 a.m. when you're raging? That's what you should do, Terri. You should just vent all that rage.
Set the world to rights.
Yeah, definitely. But no, I do. I went out for a walk. I thought, right, I'm just going to go, and I did my, go out. Mindfulness can be about just being present, breathing, thinking about, your breath and your body, really. That's all it is, and just taking that time to, invest in me and reinvest in myself. It's like reinvesting in you, isn't it? And like you put petrol in a car, don't you? You have to do the things to nurture your body and your soul and your spirit. I've got going a bit hippie, but these are the things that you've got to do. So, yeah.
Every now and again, you have to take yourself in for service, don't you, Terri?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sail away, sail away, sail away. Sorry.
That's it. Mindfulness. That's it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, dear God.
A bit of Sinead, a bit of Troy.
Effin Hormones. The perimenopause with no taboos. Anyway, Terri, do you remember last series that you were not very keen with the name of one of our features, Peri Trumps?
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
I do, yeah.
Do you also remember that you managed to sneak out of declaring your scores? Do you remember that from last series?
Did I?
Oh, look at that innocent face.
Oh, God, I still haven't totted up my scores.
Well, our Helen has discovered that you somehow got out of it, and we're going to make you do it now.
Oh, really? You've got
to
tot up your Peri Trumps. Yeah.
But also, in honour of you and how much you hate the feature, we're going to rename this week's episode Terri trumps.
Terri trumps.
Oh,
it's
cringe.
the Trump. It's the Trumps bit you don't like, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's so
it
funny.
is.
Right,
It
so
is.
when I was planning all of this before we recorded anything, right, we've got a Google Doc. And I'd put down Peri trumps in it. And bless you, you can put these little notes next to it. You can contribute to the Google Doc. And you'd done that, Terri. And you put, people might think that this is another word for fart. And people might think that that's what you mean. And I was like, mate, that's the whole point.
Oh, come on. You know I'm the prude of the gang. It's like, oh, my God. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, cringe.
Yeah, but you've not even mentioned vaginal dryness in this episode. What's going on?
Yeah. Oh, well, I don't need to now. You have.
It's not an episode of...
I really, really don't have how do you actually say it? Vaginal or vaginal? This has been keeping me up at night.
Every time. I like it.
because you guys say it differently. I'm always unsure which way to say it. Anyway,
I say vaginal, you say vaginal. Let's call the whole thing off.
You say tomato.
Terri, we're not going to let you get out of it. I think that you know this, that if you're wondering what the scores are, they are available on the Effin Hormones website. Remind everyone of the address, please.
Oh, it's effinhormones.com. No G. Right. Okay. And then when you go to the Effin, I'll do it with you actually, so I'll do it now. So when you go to the Effin Hormones website, effinhormones.com, click on the features. So in the top banner, click on features. And then one of you might have to top while I read out. You scroll down and you've got Peri Trumps, the scorecard, the game you really don't want to win. Okay, so we've got night sweats 2. Vaginal dryness, no.
Are you sure about that, Terri?
Well, actually, we have established that also includes frequent
weeing all the time.
Yeah, so I do have that. 5. Low libido. Actually, my libido improved on. So basically, both of you have that to look forward to. Estrogen improved my libido quite a lot at one point. Body odor, nah. Irregular heartbeat.
Well, we've
5.
not seen you, so we can't tell.
Smell lovely.
It's all done over
and itchy skin
online.
6. Itchy skin 6. Yeah.
What's the total? Go on.
The total for Terri is 61.
Oh,
it's not that high.
So you're above Beena. I think you were 62, Emma.
Oh, we're very similar then.
Yeah, you're around the... Yeah. There we go, finally. So you didn't get away with it, Tezza. Terri Trumps rocks.
Oh, God.
Ooh.
Terri, you've lost at Terri Trumps. How do you feel?
Terri Trumps.
I hate the name.
I mean, if the listeners could see your face now, it's just brilliant.
Let me just explain. If you can't remember, the reason why it's a riff on Trumps is because it's like farts and digestive issues is a massive problem in peri and meno. And there you go.
Well, it's also the name of the game.
Well, but we've brushed that under the carpet.
Commandeered it.
Commandeered it.
Right, there you go. We've all done an update, apart from Helen. So, Helen, what have you discovered on your wonderful journey through peri, or maybe not, over the last few weeks?
I still don't know if I'm actually peri, but I do know that I have histamine intolerance, and I have been going on about this a bit in the first series, and I've been a bit unsure about it, and I've been grappling with my diet, but I haven't been officially diagnosed with this. I'm waiting for an appointment with a private doctor, which I booked in May, and I've actually got in January because she's that busy.
Wow.
But I really, really want to explain to people what histamine intolerance is, because surprise, surprise, like so many other things that go on at this time of life, the symptoms overlap with so much of perimenopausal symptoms or so many of the other things that can happen at this time of life. And I'm really, really passionate about raising awareness of it, because what I've discovered is that some of the treatments that I've been having down the years, because I've been grappling with this for 5 years now, have actually made it worse. So I really want people to be aware of what the symptoms are and how it happens and what's happening in my body.
And just quickly, is it more common in midlife then?
Yes, it's very much, again, surprise, surprise, it's very much more common in women, perimenopausal women, because there's this massive relationship between histamine and estrogen dominance. And in perimenopause, because your hormones are flailing wildly all over the place, it can increase the histamine intolerance, and that's when the symptoms come out really badly. Let me explain what it is, okay? Because if I say histamine intolerance to you, is not an allergy. An allergy is where you have something that then releases histamine, very large amounts of histamine, very quickly into your body, and it can be massively dangerous, and we know that some allergies can be fatal.
Which is why you
right?
take an antihistamine if you've got
why you take an
hay
antihistamine.
fever or other stuff, yeah.
Yeah. With histamine intolerance, it comes on gradually. You can raise your histamine by doing cardio exercise. You can also have an increase in histamine through anxiety and stress. You can have an increase in histamine through eating certain foods. And diet is the main way that you manage histamine intolerance. And so I've been really delving deep into my diet. I keep mentioning this, but it's how you manage histamine intolerance, okay? If you think of it like red, amber and green, so you've got green foods, which are absolutely fine, amber foods, which they either enable the release of histamine in your body or they dampen down an enzyme called DAO. Now, when you've got histamine intolerance, if you're normal with this, if you don't have any problems, you release histamine and you've got this enzyme called DAO, which breaks down histamine and gets it out of your body. So sometimes people can have an impairment with the amount of DAO that they produce, and that's what causes the histamine intolerance. Sometimes you can have estrogen dominance, which causes an increase in histamine, and that causes the histamine intolerance. So there are all these different ways that you can have it. So some of the foods interact with the DAO. Some foods actually make you release histamine into your body. So those are like the red foods that you're like, okay, and guess what, right? Chocolate, alcohol, gluten.
Always the way.
Right? And actually, I've mentioned this before, but I always say spinach and avocado, which I'm just gutted about because I've been eating a pretty healthy diet for years to try and deal with these, what I thought were perimenopausal symptoms for years and years and years. And spinach and avocado were like massive go-tos for me. So I've had to completely look at my diet, and I'm writing everything down. You have to do a really detailed food diary. So at the moment, I'm going through this process of writing down what I eat every single day. I'm taking this whole range of supplements that I've done research into, which are making me feel a lot better. It's really complicated, to be honest.
Sounds
it is really complicated. It's like this massive, massive detective mission that I'm on. And listen, I'm just going to run through some of the symptoms now because I really want people to be aware of it, because I was put on antidepressants for 2 years. I was also put on contraceptives after that as a way of kind of managing my hormonal issues. And unfortunately, some antidepressants can make histamine intolerance worse. And I'm absolutely convinced that that's what's happened to me.
So what are the symptoms that you're getting then? How did you figure that you
the
had
symptoms
this?
are rashes. So I get urticaria. You know, it looks like heat rash. Itching, and it's like a feeling of crawling all over your skin, kind of itching. Flushing is on the list. I've never had any flushing. IBS, indigestion, breathlessness, heart palpitations. I've been sent to A&E. I mean, this was when I was still drinking alcohol because I gave up drinking booze in March, right? If I drink even half a glass of wine, I wake up at 2 a.m. with heart palpitations. And one time I'd gone out, I'd had 2 glasses of white wine and a pizza out with the family, and I got sent to A&E at 2 o'clock in the morning because I rang them at 111. My heart was pounding, and I had all the, I can't remember what it's called, but you know when they have these things that they stick all over you and check your heart.
ECG.
I had an ECG, yeah. So that's what happens to me if I drink alcohol. So, yeah, it's so much fun, guys.
That's so unfair, Helen.
It's really shit, to be frank. It's really shit.
And like you
but
say, some of the symptoms are similar to menopause, so it's
well, let me go through the rest
crossing
of them.
over.
So
Yeah.
migraines, dizziness, anxiety, panic, joint pains, and nasal congestion. And so let me explain as well why the reason why I thought it was perimenopause for so long. I mentioned that so estrogen dominance releases histamine, and in turn, histamine then increases estrogen. So it's like a vicious cycle. And so the times when I was having increased estrogen in my cycle, that's when I was feeling really crap. So at ovulation and just before my period. And it was, honestly, it was regular as clockwork. I've actually tracked it for 5 years now. And so and I took HRT as well. That was another clue that told me, because I took HRT, I was putting estrogen into my body, and my heart was pounding after 5 days. And I was getting this awful migraine. Came straight off the HRT, felt better. So all these things, it's taken me 5 years to work all this out. You know?
But you're all right when you're pregnant, which also makes sense then, doesn't it?
So the whole pregnancy thing is really interesting because the body creates that enzyme DAO 500 times more when you're pregnant in order to protect the baby from the histamine that's in your body. So I felt brilliant when I was pregnant. I felt brilliant when I was breastfeeding.
Could you just have loads more babies, Helen?
Just going to
That'd be
say.
a solution.
Just get pregnant, Helen.
Mate, I'm 46. I mean, crikey.
You could be like Janet Jackson. She has them. Yeah.
Well, listen, my little boy was born through IVF, and I've got to tell you, I'd never go through that again. I don't want to do it again. No way.
No, it wasn't a serious suggestion, Helen.
Isn't that what doctors do, though, isn't it? They say, basically, get over these problems, have a baby, get pregnant. That's often the issue, what they say to women when they're having... With all sorts, endometriosis and pain and ovarian issues.
Someone told me the other day that they were told to just stay on the pill continuously until whatever age, and then they just sort of menopause will just happen, but because they're on the pill, they won't know. Oh, I was just
for
like,
God's
really?
sake.
Really? That's what your doctor told you?
Well, listen, I had one female GP say to me that I had health anxiety. And she made me, and I'm just going to say it because I know that not all, we've had good stories of GPs, but I had such a bad experience with a female GP after about 3 years of going backwards and forwards to this same surgery, trying to identify, and I just still didn't know what was wrong at this point. And I just used to weep, and she was getting fed up with me, and she kind of got a bit angry. And she then just said, well, you've got health anxiety. And do you know what I thought? I thought, it's game over now. I can't do anything with this woman because everything is just going to be put down to anxiety now. And the fact is, I have something. No one seems to know about it. And I'm really, really passionate about people knowing about it because it's there. And they think that actually loads of people have this without even realising. So anyway, there you go. Being a bit serious, but, you know, that's been my life for the past 5 years, and I really want people to know about it.
We've all had a doctor like that, though, sadly, haven't we, who's just, they just haven't got time for you, have they? They've just got so many patients waiting, and they just have very low tolerance of things that they don't understand, and they just want to get rid of you quickly, don't they, I think, which is a shame.
But anyway, listen, on the positive note, I'm feeling so much better. The migraines, I'm not getting the migraines, touch wood, anymore. I'm very, very careful with my diet, as you know. I'm doing my yoga, I'm doing my meditation. And let me credit where my source is, because the Newson Clinic have got a PDF that's out there on the internet about histamine intolerance, and also the menopause consultancy, both been absolutely brilliant. And Dr. Tina Pearce, if you want to find out more about this, there's loads on her website. She's an expert in this area as well, if you want to find out about it.
Excellent, thank you, Helen. So we're all on HRT, and meanwhile you just can't drink wine or eat spinach, so that's your treatment. By the sounds of it.
It's a bit shit, really, isn't it, Helen?
Do you know what? It's the booze thing is a bit sort of like, because you know you girls know I was a party animal, right? Come on,
Yeah.
None of you would have said that this is what I'd be
Raver.
doing, would you? I'm an
Yeah,
ex-raver. Yeah,
Full raver.
It won't stop you dancing, will it, Helen? You'll still be able to dance.
Oh God, no! I'll still be able to boogaloo. Of course I will. Never stop the boogaloo. That's what I say.
Big fish, little fish, HRT.
I love you, Terri.
God, I love it.
Honestly.
Brilliant.
I think you should turn that into a song, Terri.
It could be something, Terri. Work on that.
I reckon you should get some old Hacienda DJ to see what they can knock up with you.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Well, wonderful catch-up, girlies. Thank you. We're all up to date. We're not going to do Effins, but I think it'd be really nice if we all picked a tune for our Spotify playlist. The time to update that. Beena, what are you going to go for, darling?
A track that I'd like to add to the playlist is Super Styling by Groove Armada.
Oh, yes. Brilliant.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, I love that tune. I'm really happy about that, Beena, because I felt that there's not been enough dance music on it, so
Yeah,
I'm very happy about that.
thank you.
Hooray!
Thank you.
Is that super styling because you're feeling so blooming super after kind of knowing what's going on and feeling empowered and all that?
Yeah, it's been a good summer, after a crazy ash year, and feeling on top of the world. I saw a friend who I went to university with. We lived together at university over the weekend, not seen her for a few years. And yeah, we were just chatting about music that we used to go out dancing to and stuff like that, and we were going through our playlists, and then we put that on and both of us just went mental. So yeah, it's great. But yeah, also, I'm feeling pretty good at the moment. So
yeah, that's good. That's good. And in fact, your choices inspired me, because I was going to choose another noisy, shouty, angst-ridden teenage dirtbag tune, but I've changed my mind now.
Go on
then.
Got a bit of Enya.
Because I was going to go for another, because So I've chosen Enya because I'm such a massive fan. Terry's brought me round. No, I was just thinking I was going to choose Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit just because it's such a great tune, and I heard Nirvana earlier today and I've forgotten how absolutely fucking awesome they are, and I thought it was a nice good shouty number, but I thought actually no, Beena's done something that has chosen a song that is more related to where she is now. So hopefully I've gone past the shouty, sweary, angst-ridden period of my menopause, and the song that just popped into my head as Beena was speaking, so therefore I'm going to choose it, is I Can See Clearly the Rain Has Gone. Yes. And I think that's beautiful because I also really like these lyrics. It says, basically, gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's going to be a bright, sunshiny day. So it's about being really positive.
Yeah.
Yes.
All
love
cured
that.
and positive. Now I'm on HRT.
Is it actually I can see clearly now the rage has gone?
Yay! And she's back.
She's back. She's back.
Boom. Go on, Terry. What have you chosen then?
Well, I'm probably going to lower the tone. But I've got a choice.
Here we
I've
go.
got a choice of two, so you can pick.
Can we
one, 'cause I
vote?
know- yeah, you can vote.
Great.
So, I did some research after the last episode because I was slightly embarrassed that I'd never heard of FKA Twigs.
Oh.
So I listened, and you're right, Helen. I did love it. But
great.
my option one, just so that I can prove I'm down with the kids and not just an Enya lover,
Go on.
is "Fuck Sleep" by ASAP Rocky featuring FKA Twigs, which is actually a really it's got beats, guys. It's really good. It's got a line in it about
Rocky.
it's really good, but apart from the bit where it says "fuck the police," apologise to all my relatives who work in the police force. But otherwise, it's quite a good song.
You are
and
so
then
funny.
the other one, which actually I know you're going to laugh, but I've done a little straw poll of one, and someone agrees with me that this is a really, really inspiring tune. But this makes me feel really happy whenever I hear it, and it doesn't matter where I hear it. I love it. But the Black Beauty theme.
Yeah.
You'll have to remind me how that goes, Terry.
Dun, da, 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 that one. Anyway,
Right, that's
the reason
not
why
going on.
No, I really think you should put that on because it's just right. Hear me out. I know you guys are musical snobs, but it's just
I'm not a musical snob.
No,
I am.
but you are. But it's just one of those tunes that, you know, when you hear something that makes you feel like a child again, and you think, oh, I love that, and it just you like it. And
Do you know? I think I'd have that if I heard the Juliet Bravo theme tune because I loved that when I was a
used to
kid.
love that.
Yeah.
Did
Juliet
anyone else
Bravo.
get palpitations hearing Antiques Roadshow theme tune because you're kind of panicking you've not done your homework on a Sunday night?
The Sunday night feeling. Oh my God, that and Songs of Praise.
Yeah.
I can't
80s
choose
childhood.
between those two because I don't really know either of the songs, so I don't. I'll let you choose what you want, Terry.
FKA Twigs is quite good, actually. It's quite a good, quite a good tune.
Pop
Just
that
have them
on.
both. Have them both, Terry. I reckon have them both.
Getting down with the kids, Terry.
Right,
Well
I
done.
want Littlest Hobo theme tune then in that.
Well,
Right,
that
no,
is the
listen.
best
Right,
theme tune.
no, right. Listen, we're opening the floodgates here.
Gentle Ben.
Am I allowed to name my tune now?
No.
I hadn't forgotten you, Helen. Last but not least, our leader. It's Helen Brown.
Well, listen, you'll be pleased about this, Terry, because you chose this actually when we were first talking about tunes, and it's "Release the Pressure" by Left Field. Release the pressure.
Tune.
Because I'm not quite there yet. I'm working very hard on getting, this is where I'm at now. I feel a lot better. I'm releasing the pressure. And actually, I was thinking about this the other day, and that album, I actually think is my album of the 90s because I loved that album so much. Yeah. And it's some
good
dance
album.
music as well. We need more dance music on the playlist, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about putting Jimmy
I love
Cliff in
that
there,
song.
Helen, but
No, great.
No, that's great.
I reckon, to be fair, they are all good selections. And
Yes.
as much as I laughed at you then, Terry, the Black Beauty theme tune is pretty damn good.
Are we letting her have it?
I think she should have both. I think she should have both.
All right, then. She says through gritted teeth. Anyway, well done,
great
guys.
selection, girls.
Excellent.
Well, that's it for this episode of Effin Hormones. You'll get to hear from us again in a couple of weeks' time. But in the meantime, remember, you can check out the Effin Hormones website, take a look at Perry Trumps, and tot up your own score. Don't forget we're on all the socials as well. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Effin Hormones. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, do rate, review and follow. And if you write a review on Apple Podcasts, it means that more people get to hear from us too.